this is M, Plum Bob M on Tumblr. This is my very first YouTube video. I've never done this before, so if it's weird, don't come for me. But yeah, I always kind of liked speed edits, and I use them a lot to learn how to do Photoshop and stuff. And that's always like a fun and useful thing for me to watch. So I figured I would start recording myself while editing my pictures and go over some tips and some of my editing process for you guys. Maybe you guys can learn something too, like I did. I know Photoshop is not the most intuitive software there is, but it's what I've used since forever. Of course, you can follow my the same steps that I'm doing here in any other software, but that's what I'm using. I'm using Photoshop CC 2021. And yeah, I hope you guys like it, and let's get to the video. Okay, so the very first thing that I do before anything else is I usually rotate my image. If they were taken in landscape and I need them to be portrait, I will rotate them and then I will crop them. I've already done this here. I've rotated it and I cropped it, and then the very next thing that I do is I hit Ctrl J to duplicate my background, and I'm gonna work directly on this duplicated layer. So if I get anything wrong and I need to erase it, I have the exact same thing under it, so I can just go back and fix whatever I need to fix. What I'm doing now, I'm going to go over everything that needs fixing with the spot healing tool. I recommend you do this with a small brush. Of course, it's going to depend on how zoomed in your image is. But yeah, do it with a small brush, because with content aware, it's going to get the information from the pixels that are around what you're going over with the brush. So it can look weird, like what's happening right now. You can see that it kind of looks off. So I'm going to give up doing that soon, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But mostly I use it for clipping, for clothes. If you can use it for when you have a seam on your clothes or a seam on your skin, and you can erase that pretty easily. So what you need to do, you gotta have to like experiment with it. Every image is different, and you just gotta go and be a little patient and see what you get and what you can get with that specific brush. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm selecting a specific part that I need. I need that to be all black because it's a piece of clothing, and what makes more sense is for that to be black. So I am going with the healing brush tool. It's not the spot healing, it's the healing brush that you need to select with Alt. You need to select like a sample of what you're going over. So I selected a sample of that same fabric and I went over it. So because the clothing, it was transparent, so you could see what was behind the sim. So I didn't want that. I needed it to be all black, so that's why I did that. And selecting the area is just easier for you to control what exactly the brush is going over, and it gives you less things to fix later. So yeah, I'm just finishing up with the spa healing tool now, just going over and looking at the full picture and seeing if there's anything else that I can fix that needs that the work with the spot healing tool. And yeah, I think I'm ready to move on. When you feel ready, you just can move on to the next step. I don't usually have a specific order, but it's usually this one that I'm going to show you in this video. Okay, so my next step is to use the smudge tool. And with the smudge tool, I'm going with very little strength, because if you use higher strength than 3, if you go to 30, you're gonna see that it's just gonna look like smudged paint, and we don't want that. We just want a little bit of softness in some areas. Basically, you're gonna smudge out the pixels so they don't look as harsh, so you have less harsh lines. And I do that a lot. I do that with hair edges and face features and anything that is skin, so it actually looks like skin and doesn't look like a 3D object. That's what I'm going for. We want that softness so it looks a little bit more realistic. As you can see, I'm going over their facial features, and I recommend you do this very carefully, because if you smudge over something that is important, like eyes or even their eyebrows or some facial features, you're gonna lose a lot of definition. By default, you're losing definition when you're doing this, but yeah, you're gonna see how much better it looks very soon. It makes a lot of difference. Doesn't look like it at first, but it does. What I like to do also, I do this so it looks kind of like detached from the background, if that makes sense. I just do this all over their lines, their silhouette, so it looks like they're standing away from the background. I'm gonna blur the background a little because my reshade did not pick up the depth of field that I wanted, at least not as much as I wanted. So I'm going with the blur tool and just blurring it a little bit, so just to get that more depth of field effect that I wanted. Now I'm gonna start the hair process. I'm gonna draw hair now. I'm gonna use my drawing tablet for that. You can try this out with your mouse, but I find that it's very difficult. You don't have as much control. The drawing tablet is just better. You don't have to do this. It's not a required step. Just an extra I'm doing for this picture specifically. But I used to draw hair a lot more. I don't do that anymore. I just don't have really the time or the patience to be doing that all the time. But yeah, I really like drying hair. I love the effect that it gives. So I'm gonna link a few of my hair brushes on the description box so you can try it out for yourself. But yeah, you can do this with your drawing tablet. I have a simple, very simple Wacom. You can do this in your iPad if you have Procreate. But yeah, it's just basically it's the same thing for any software that you use, any tool that you use, even your mouse if you have that kind of control in your hands. I don't. But yeah, this time I'm going to duplicate the layer and make an empty layer. Why? Because this step just takes a lot more erasing and going back to what I'm doing, because I need to get the waves of the hair just right. So I need the extra layers. That's why I'm doing a completely empty layer. And if I need to mess with it somehow, I have more freedom to do that. So I'm gonna I selected a hairbrush for this. You have to figure out what size brush you need for your specific hair type, for how far away your subject is on the picture, so it doesn't look like the hair is too thick or the hair is too little. That's gonna be a lot more work for you. You just gotta figure out what kind of size is gonna blend in well with the original hair. I don't usually draw hair out of nowhere. I always go over the original hair because it's easier to blend in, to make it look natural, to so it doesn't look like I've drawn something in completely artificially. But it's up to you. It's up to your style, of course. And I always start with a base color. I usually go darker to light, but it's not necessarily a rule. You gotta see what works for your hair color, the hair color that you're using, that you're drawing at the time. So yeah, I just take the tablet and then I just go at it. As you can see, I start drawing the hair and going, following the direction that the hairs are supposed to go. And you gotta consider if there's wind, if there's not, and the movement of the original hair, and if your subject is doing any sort of movement in the picture as well. But that's that's more advanced. But yeah, basically just follow the movement of the hair. So yeah, for textured hair, of course, straight hair is much easier to draw. You just go over with the straight line, but you can't do that with textured hair, obviously, curly hair, etc. So you gotta try your best to follow that texture. There are curly hair stamps. I don't really like to use them because they don't really feel very natural to me. I rather just draw it myself, like use the movement of my hand to get it right. But it's of course it's gonna take a little practice if you're starting out, but you're gonna get there. Trust me. See, you just go and do a little wave, you do a little curl, and you can erase it if you need. Yeah, so what I do next, I just merge the two hair layers, all of the hair layers are actually, and I'm going with the smudge tool again, just to blend those edges in and make it look more natural with the rest of the hair, with the original sim hair. You just do that so it looks the least drawn in possible, and then I merge everything back into the original picture, and I go in with the smudge tool again, and then really blend in those edges, and at the end of it, you're not even gonna notice that it wasn't drawn in. That's the idea. You can skip, like, you can completely skip the hair. You can go straight into this next part, which is sharpening. I usually use the sharpen tool just on the face or on the eyes, just to give that pop. You're gonna see how much difference it makes. But yeah, I do that just to enhance their faces a little bit. Very light, just don't go heavy with it because it's gonna look weird. What I'm going to do next is light and shadow. There are other methods to getting the shadows and the highlights in your picture, more advanced things with drawing and then the multiply layer. I'm not gonna go over that today. I'm just gonna go with the burn tool and the dodge tool. So the burn tool, which is the little hand, it's gonna darken the areas. So you go over with that all over the places you need to be a little darker. Usually I go around the chin and the neck, and sometimes the edges of the hair, because the hair draws shadow onto the face. So to look more natural and realistic, I just kind of go over that. And the body, when the body is exposed, and when clothes are on top of each other, etc., etc. With the burn tool and with the dodge tool as well, you also gotta go with a light hand, because if you overdo it, it's gonna look kind of gray and ashy, and we don't want that. So just see how far you can build up that shadow. And then basically my final step is I go onto camera raw and I just mess up with the settings as much as I need to get the look that I want. Sometimes I will raise the exposure, sometimes I will lower the exposure, sometimes I will make the temperature higher, sometimes lighter, because if I need darker or colder environment, then I'm going to lower the temperature. So you just gotta experiment with what you want. You can always leave like an action ready for that. I just go picture by picture and see what needs to be fixed or enhanced. Just play around with it, have fun trying to make different moods and different looks. And yeah, this is now we're getting to the final touches, which is I'm just fixing the very last little details of the picture. I'm basically done now. If I wanted to just save it and post it, I'd be good. So yeah, now you can see the difference. To me, there's a very big difference from the original picture. Here I'm just going over with the texture, with the distressed textures, like a noise textures, just to give it a little bit of pizzazz, but that's not required, of course. But I recommend you go over on the internet and find some resources, find some light leaks, lens flares, and textures and PSTs, so you can play around with it in Photoshop and find your own style, because I know that after so long I have my own, because all my pictures kind of go through this process. So yeah, was a very simple way to make your pictures look more edited and more polished. I hope you guys liked it. If you have any questions, you can leave them down in the comments or send me a message up on Tumblr. I'm chronically online. I'm always over there. And I would love to talk to you guys. Thank you so much for watching and have a great week, and see you guys on the next video. Bye!